Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce saying, Joyce, the Golden Globes just ended. It's
It
11:40 on
just
the East
ended.
Coast.
And I'm on the West Coast right now, and
You're
it's replaying right now. Angela Bassett just won. She just pulled out her phone. She's gonna give her speech.
Oh man, congratulations, Angela Bassett, for winning your Golden Globe here.
I
Second
know,
Golden
but
Globe,
not
Joyce.
not no congratulations for you because you switched off of her.
I made a lot of mistakes.
Me too.
Mistakes were made. I made a lot of changes. Joyce said we have a venue change. You're in Los Angeles. I'm here
Mhm.
on the East Coast. It's so late. The show is incredibly long. We'll talk about the show and then we'll go through the winners. But the Fabelmans won Best Drama and Banshees of Inisherin won Best Comedy or Musical on the film side, both of which I got wrong. I don't know about you. I think you did as well.
I did too. And I had Banshees until like 3 p.m. this afternoon. And
Wow.
then I switched to Everything Everywhere, but I'm okay with it because I wanted Banshees to win, so I'd rather be wrong and have my favorite win.
Yeah, of
So
course. I 100% agree. I say that all. That's why I have not predicted Top Gun yet because I'm just
yeah,
like,
I had Top Gun winning.
I had Elvis winning, which I felt really confident about. And then when Quentin Tarantino got up and was like, Tom Cruise, I was like, Top Gun is winning this shit. He's
Also,
got it.
I was kind of I thought no matter what he would say Top Gun Maverick since it was his favorite film of 2022. Yeah, but I was also disappointed he didn't say Lydia Tarr. He said Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, he did. He not say Lydia Tarr. He also said whatever those blue people are called in Avatar, which I was like, James Cameron is
Amazing.
going to come up there and punch him in the face. I really thought he was. It was going to be a fist fight over that, which maybe it still can. Who knows? Maybe they'll see each other
There's
picking up
after
their
parties,
cars.
so
Yeah, in the park, at the Beverly Hilton, there's a lot of waiting to get your cars from the valet.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
and it's a mess right now because it stormed
yes,
last night and this morning too. It
right.
was a mess. Yeah.
As Regina Hall said in one of the best moments of the night, that's why Kevin Costner couldn't attend because he
But
was weather
it's
related.
so yesterday, our mutual friend, she was in Santa Barbara over the weekend and she took an earlier train to come here to Pasadena
So
because of the storm. So Kevin should have taken the train with her.
he could have.
Yeah.
That was one of the runners of the night. A lot of people showed up. Some people did not, and their reasons for not showing up felt like they were getting increasingly more specific
Are
and
you
absurd.
also working on a new musical?
Yeah, she's deep in the process of working on a
Amanda
new
Seyfried.
musical.
Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried obviously could not be there. I can't wait for the new musical. I'm hoping it's Mamma Mia 3. Joyce, as a
It
lot of
must
people on
be.
Twitter
It
were.
must be. She's been pushing for it.
But before we get to the winners, the show itself, Joyce, the Golden Globes are back after a year away. And what a start. Gerard Carmichael was host, Joyce.
Yes. And
And
I kind of the like the haunted mansion vibe was kind of weird, but then I got into it as the show went on.
so we were saying before, not that either one of us are really experts in the medium of stand-up comedy, Joyce. I'm
No.
not really watching a lot, but I do know from like seeing him on SNL and clips of Nathaniel, which won at the Emmys last year, that Gerard Carmichael's stand-up is a lot. It's a slow build. A lot of like, going to start like a little low energy and kind of like build up to the jokes. And that's how he came out with his monologue, and it was just so uncomfortable to watch. I thought, I was just like, the room was still kind of filing in. He was spending a lot of time talking about people sitting down, and then basically just went off on the controversy about the show and why it wasn't on the air last year and why he was selected as host in his estimation. And it was very real talk, I would say, Joyce.
Yeah, and I think he's not um that big yet where people are familiar with his style and his shtick,
Right.
you know? So it was just kind of like, where is he going with this? And I think like, everyone could see those jokes coming or that setup coming, with their controversy and everything. But yeah, they go on for a very long time. And it was like, I don't know if his stand-up style is conducive to this environment.
Right. And I thought that too. But then I would say everything in the interstitials and like the intros, he was killing. He was so funny,
He
I
gave
thought.
no fucks.
He had nothing. He did not care. He threw, I mean, he made a joke about Tom Cruise and Scientology that was like definitely something you don't expect, while he introed Glenn Powell and Jay Ellis from Top Gun, who then had to stand there and be like,
And do banter.
do like just very basic banter about like Tom Cruise. He made a joke about the Fabelmans seeing it with Kanye West that I really tickled me. I thought that was a good one.
That was a good one. He did a Will Smith joke that Eddie Murphy later one-upped him with. So
his Gerard Carmichael's Will Smith joke was about how he won the Rock Hudson Masculinity on TV award, I believe.
Yeah. And then his worst joke was the Whitney joke. Really?
Yes. He also made a joke about the Beverly Hilton where Whitney Houston died. So a lot of, he definitely did not, like you said, no F's at all. He was just taking shots all over the place. But I thought all of that was like really fun. And I also thought like a lot of the presenter pairings and presenters were fun as well. Dare I say this was actually a good show, even though it was entirely too long. It ended 11:30 basically.
Yeah. And then they kept saying, like, all the later presenters kept talking about the time.
Yes.
But then they didn't actually get to it, because in the past award shows, even when it was running late, they just went right to the nominees and winners. But no, Natasha Lyonne,
great bit.
her thing.
I guess my biggest problem with the whole show, and I tweeted this, so I dare to talk about a tweet, Joyce, because that's just like really bad. It's like explaining
and your own tweet too.
Really embarrassing. So I understand it's embarrassing up front, but I was surprised that they were so aggressively cutting off so many great speeches early in the show. I understand that they're late on time, but I was just like, man, they cut off Colin Farrell and Michelle Yeoh and Austin Butler and Martin McDonagh, and outside of like Steven Spielberg, really, I think was the only one maybe who got a full speech over a minute.
Yeah, I don't remember them playing him off.
I don't think they did, which I'm not surprised, because he's an all-time Golden Globes winner, Joyce. I think he tied a record tonight, or set a record. What was it?
Well, he has 3 directing Globes now, so that's the second most. So he's the 6th person to win 3. L.A. Kazan has 4.
Right. And
so, but he already has the most nominations in the category, right. So that wasn't new.
And then I think he had 5 movies now. Has won, because the Fabelmans won. And West Side Story won last year, because music is the best medicine, as we recall.
Or is it laughter?
I don't
Yesterday
remember.
was the 1-year anniversary.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the show was actually not. There were parts of it where I was like, this is bad. And then parts where I was like, this is sublime. And this is why award shows are good. And I was happy it was bad.
Yeah, it was totally fine. It's better than a lot of broadcast award shows.
Right. I guess I was like, if they're worried about time, they should have gone hostless again, like they had in the past, right?
And just like and then not give Jennifer Coolidge a monologue herself.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge had a monologue and then won and had a speech, and both were great, but it was a lot of Jennifer Coolidge. It was like an extra episode of The White Lotus, Joyce.
Yeah, well, Mike White wrote it for her, so.
Mike White's speech, it was hard to pick a favorite. Mike White was drunk and had a great speech, just complete, again, real talk, seemingly, and mocked everybody for passing on The White Lotus. It was
they know who they are.
Everyone, you all passed. He pointed at everybody in the room. I thought that was great. I thought Jennifer Coolidge was great. I thought Michelle Yeoh's speech was great. And I know one of the things for me, Joyce, because I'm a lunatic and I don't think this is anywhere near real, but I'm always like, what's going on in the room? That was why I was like, oh, I'm glad the Globes are back, because it's like last year the tweets were great and I love seeing a winner, but you don't really know what the vibe is, right? So like seeing like Michelle Yeoh win, people were really psyched for Michelle Yeoh. And then Cate Blanchett being in the United Kingdom, I believe, working on a project or whatever.
No, Tar is premiering tomorrow in the UK.
Okay. So that's why
the Tar team is there.
Right. But she made time to come to New York Film Critics Circle dinner and was also in LA.
She just to sit next to you.
She was right next to me at the New York Film. I saw her at the New York Film Critics Circle there. So I was like, I got the Golden Globes, nothing on me over here.
It's like Chris Rosen's going to an NYFCC dinner. Gotta be there. Globes, fuck
right there, looking at me, laughing at all these terrible jokes, like I was tonight from my couch. But no, so she didn't give a speech. So I was like, oh, that's like, to me, I'm like, oh, is that a
no, I don't think that matters at all, because I mean, we could talk more about this later, but it's like best actress is down to 2 of them anyway, so
but I was like, oh, that was a great speech. I always look at the speech, so I was like, Ki Kwan gave like the speech he's been giving in various forms for a long time. It's a killer speech though. He really nails it. And
I mean, he really resurrected Steven's campaign.
It's awesome. That was like, he brought him back, and then Steven won, and then Fabelmans won. I'm like, fuck yeah.
And then they hugged. There are the photos of them during the commercial breaks hugging.
It was great. So that was great.
Pass them out.
That was a great speech. I thought Colin Farrell's speech was wonderful.
Iconic. Just trying to help Ana de Armas's campaign too.
So I was like, did Colin Farrell single-handedly drag Ana de Armas into the Oscar race because I'm expecting her to get nominated at SAG tomorrow, Joyce, which we'll talk about.
Well,
maybe
SAG voting is over.
maybe she already is nominated when you're watching this or listening to this or whatever you're doing.
Well,
Like,
Oscar voting starts on Thursday, so this is great timing. So people now, based off of Colin's endorsement, they have a day to watch Blonde.
I was like, I actually think that was a big deal, and like he wasn't alone seemingly in like being respectful of Ana de Armas and Blonde in the room.
But here's the thing, like, have your issues with the film. Everyone has their issues with the film, but like no one has an issue with her performance.
No, but I'm saying like we said, like maybe that we'll see how that happens. I was like, oh, that was like a big moment, and I'm like, that you don't get that in a tweet. Colin Farrell's not going to retweet the Golden Globes if this is last year and be like, hell yeah, Ana de Armas, you made me devastated me with your performance in as Marilyn Monroe.
Colin Farrell is also not on social media, so
well, you know what I mean. I'm just using it as an example.
He's not one of those actors who's gonna story their thanks.
Right. So I thought that was really good. I thought Michelle Yeoh was obviously really good. Austin Butler pulling the going Ryan Gosling and half Nelson with his voice. That's what I thought, because he now talks like Elvis.
Like, well, he's talked like Elvis for over a year now, and right. I was really dreading him winning, not because like I knew he was gonna win and like deserved win, but I was dreading the reaction from the casuals who have never heard him speak.
Right. Well, there's a lot of that, to the point where he was asked about it backstage, and there's multiple articles about it seemingly already about his voice. And all our favorite publications.
And he also talked about it or joked about it in his SNL monologue 3 weeks ago.
Right. So I didn't see that one, but I did see the Jared Carmichael monologue. So there you go. But I thought he was great. I thought his speech was awesome, honestly. It was
yeah, he got a hug from QT.
And again,
shouted out Brad Denzel.
It was really good, really good. And I was like, again, I see him and Colin kind of like separating maybe from Brendan Fraser, which
I mean, it's just like an actress. It's just the two of them, really.
Right.
Like,
and then the one thing I was disappointed, or not disappointed, I take that back. Well, I went off Angela Bassett, like we said. Which was so stupid, because I was like, I went back and was like watching some of that. Honestly, this is like, you were like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I don't know, maybe I should listen to Joyce, I guess, or just like not pick Angela Bassett. I don't know. I was just like, because I wasn't even
trying to convince you to. I would never try to convince someone to switch off of their prediction.
I know, but I didn't really have any kind of like reasoning for her to win other than that she's Angela Bassett, and I guess I should have just.
That's enough.
That was enough. And she won, but I was thinking watching the show, and I thought her speech was really good too, and like really a great moment. But I was like, because I saw her at New York Film Critics Circle dinner, Joyce. Kerry Condon went to, except for Martin McDonagh, who had won for screenplay, and Colin Farrell, who won for actor, did not attend the New York Film Critics Circle dinner. But Kerry Condon did, and she was amazing. She was definitely the best speech of the night both times, and she like kind of blew up the room, and everybody was like really fun. I was like, wow, if she ever wins a televised award, she's going to be like irresistible, I think, for people. She's so charming and kind of like could begin to steamroll, and she did not get that opportunity tonight. We'll see if the Critics' Choice Awards, which I think are still voting, Joyce, right now.
Yeah, that's always the case. Like, they vote at the Globes ceremony.
We'll see if they want to piggyback off the Globes to predict, in theory, the Oscars, or go their own way and pick the critical favorite, who I think would be Kerry Condon still, based on how the movie is performed. And we'll see what happens.
Or they could just tie. I actually think voting started a few days ago, but it's still ongoing. It hasn't closed yet, basically.
I mean, even if she ties, it would be great to get her up on stage, because I do think she.
But also, who's watching that on the CW?
Nobody's watching any of these things.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody watched this, but people be tweeting about it. The speeches, and then maybe people are like, "Oh, I was really charmed by that speech." I don't know. So
I think you place more emphasis on the speeches than I do. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, I think. Because the people who are voting, like, they're gonna schmooze with them in person anyway. I don't think they necessarily need a speech. I think the speech is more for the fans and the viewers.
Right.
Like, it's content for us. It's just like all the interviews and photo shoots and all that stuff. That's for us.
Right. Well, I'm the fan. I'm just saying, like, for me.
Yeah, but you're not an Oscar voter.
I know. Not yet. So yeah, the Lifetime Achievement Awards were for Ryan Murphy and Eddie Murphy. Was that right? Yes.
The Murphys.
Yeah. I just realized that they both have the same last name. When I said it, it kind of tripped me up. I was like, wait.
Not when they presented them like 45 minutes apart.
Yeah, I had some quibbles about the production of the show, but I did think the show ended up being okay. Because like I said, it really is just winners and speeches. and then not a lot of bits, but some banter and the between the presenters. I was thinking, I'll go back to the Lifetime Achievement Awards because I thought Ryan Murphy's speech was really cool and he did a couple of really great things. But I was thinking, we were just saying before about how the show is running so long, that Anna Gasteyer and Nicole Byer, who were both very funny and were funny together, their banter went on forever, it felt like.
It did, but it was funny that I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it either. They were going off about how every male in the limited series category was like a creeper or murderer.
Yeah, or like the dad of a creeper murderer.
Or the dad of a creeper murderer, right? Really good stuff. But yeah, again, it made me laugh that I was like, they're so worried about time, but they're not cutting back the obvious places where there would be places to cut for time.
Yeah, because normally it's like we've had people literally come out just be like, and the nominees are.
Right. They didn't even do that. Even with the last award of the night, you had Salma Hayek
and then they bring out the president of the HFPA like before the last two awards.
Wow, that one.
That is a first act move. Okay,
it was a first act move, and I kind of felt bad because she had this obvious line where she thought she was going to get applause. It was like after her first.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward. Yeah,
and then no one clapped, and I was just like, oh god. But it's also tough because in that room, like Jared Carmichael kept telling people to like be quiet, which I was like,
yeah, because it's like tables and they're the food is over. They're eating, quote unquote.
The food is over, as Mike White found out.
Yeah,
they just drank.
They're drinking.
Yes.
So and it's like they're getting ready to go to the after party. Some of them have already left. Like a lot of them are in the press room. So yeah, not a lot of people in there.
And it was like not a lot of paying attention seemingly. But I thought Ryan Murphy's speech was great. They did another thing they did was great montages. I thought the Ryan Murphy montage was great, and the Eddie Murphy montage.
Yeah, but you know what was not in the Ryan Murphy montage?
I know what it was, but you could say
Popular.
Yeah, not in there.
Iconic show. WB. R.I.P. Love that show. That's honestly my favorite Ryan Murphy show.
Maybe. But I thought his speech was great. He did a great thing where he was able to. Last year, obviously, we said Michaela J. Rodriguez won Best Actress. And did not get to give a speech.
She gave her speech on Instagram.
And so he gave her a standing ovation. I actually thought he was going to bring her up on stage to give a speech. But he did that, and he recognized Billy Porter and Matt Bomer and Jeremy Pope, who he said is on his way to maybe a well-deserved Oscar nomination.
Yeah, he was encouraging people to vote for him.
Yes. Great. I mean, using that pulpit, he had the stage. Get Jeremy. I mean, it could happen. I was like, after Carmichael's joke about Tom Cruise, and then that, I was like, maybe, who knows? I don't know. How does this stuff play in the industry? I have no idea.
I don't think they care.
I don't think they care either. I think he's
like the viewers care more than they do not care. Like how many women went up there and made Brad Pitt jokes?
So many. I texted multiple friends about it, honestly, because I was like, I can't believe that nobody seems to care about anything.
Yeah,
it was great moments. Great moments in Golden Globes. But I thought Ryan Murphy's speech was really great. I actually was like, I thought the whole thing was good. He seemingly had I like it when people are prepared. I know there's but for a Lifetime Achievement Award,
he should be prepared since he knew he was getting it.
And I thought he did a really great job, and it was very well written. And I thought the way he kind of highlighted the people he worked with was really nice. And I thought it was interesting, and one of the reasons, again, why I think Steven Spielberg will end up winning at the Oscars is, man, everybody loves Steven Spielberg. Even Ryan Murphy shouted.
He was the only one who got a standing ovation, right? Did anyone else get one?
I think he was the only one who got it, except for Michaela J. Rodriguez, right?
Well, I mean for winners.
Oh, sure. But multiple people mentioned Spielberg. Akiva Kwan obviously did. That was great. He kickstarted the night for Uncle Steve. And then Michelle Yeoh even shouted him out, which made me remember that he produced Memoirs of a Geisha, I guess, right? Was that right?
Geisha, yes.
Geisha, yes. Mm. And then Tarantino obviously was excited for Spielberg. So I don't know. I was like, look, he's back.
Or was he ever gone?
Maybe he was never gone. And then Eddie Murphy's was another one who, so Tracy Morgan did the intro for Eddie Murphy and tried to make Eddie Murphy laugh and did not until he had an incredible joke about Eddie having 10 kids. Good. And Eddie lost it because he was sitting there stone-faced the entire time while Tracy Morgan was trying very hard to get him to laugh.
I actually LOL'd, a really good punchline. And then Jamie Lee Curtis had to come out to double up with the presentation.
Had to, because no time doesn't matter, I guess, because she just came out and was like, I'm here. And then Eddie Murphy gave a, I didn't expect him. He doesn't seem like he loves doing this stuff, Joyce.
No, but I don't know. Maybe like as he's gotten older, he's like softened up a little bit. I don't know. But like he did send in when he won the Emmy a couple years ago and it was virtual, he did send in a speech.
Right.
So
I guess but I guess what I mean is that he's not enthusiastic about having to give the speech, or he just is like a little maybe muted. But he ended up having the best joke of the night. I thought his Will Smith joke was so good. And I was like, man, I wonder if Jimmy Kimmel's watching this and just like, God damn it. What am I supposed to do? This is the best Will Smith joke we're going to have, probably. Unless he brings Will Smith out during the Oscars, which he can't. He's not allowed there.
They can do it on Zoom. Is that allowed?
That would be great. I don't even know. Maybe he'll bring Chris Rock.
Can he appear via Zoom?
The thing that made me laugh about the Eddie joke, especially, is that I just did not. It was a twist ending, I would say. I did not see it coming.
Yeah, because it was getting very sincere and earnest leading up to it, and the first two are funny but also real.
Yeah. Here was
pay your taxes and mind your own business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pay your taxes, mind your own business, and keep Will Smith's name out of your goddamn mouth.
Will Smith's wife's name.
Wife's name out of the goddamn mouth. Amazing. Just amazing. Brought down the house, I would say. And then he just walked off. I got to say, watching the clips of Eddie Murphy, I was like, Eddie Murphy's the funniest dude alive. Even just Trading Places and SNL and everything. I was like, man, it's funny, Eddie Murphy. I wish Dolomite Is My Name got him in the Oscars, Joyce.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking.
I know like some people, when he was announced as the recipient of the Cecil B. DeMille Award, like there was like a lot of people were excited, but some, I don't know. I feel like just maybe people who were not around for his heyday or didn't know what an impact he had on comedy and also in film, like did not understand why he was getting this award.
Yeah.
So
I think because he hasn't had his heyday is really like the 80s and early 90s, I would say.
Yeah, but still like so many rewatchable movies.
Incredible run.
You just have to watch some of those movies. So
yeah. A lot of people know him, like I think Tracy Morgan or maybe Jamie Lee Curtis was saying, from his like family stuff. Like Shrek is is an annual movie for people, right? Yeah. They watch it all the time.
He's a BAFTA nominee for Shrek. So great
performance. So that was the show, I guess. Anything else on the show, Joyce? What do you think? Anything else stood out? We can go through the winners then.
I don't know, like Chloe Flower playing the piano, some interesting music choices.
Yeah, how do you think they came up with those?
I don't know. They drew them out of a hat. Like I would think you would play like the score to some of the nominees.
No, nothing. Well, that was what Austin Butler wanted.
He wanted Suspicious Minds.
So then Jerry Carmichael had to say that she wasn't playing off the people. That was a pre-recorded track because people were dragging her or dragging the idea that they were playing these people off on social media. Sure. A lot of people seemingly came. I guess that was the other big question going into it.
So I don't know why people thought a lot of stars won't show up when a lot of them acknowledged their wins last year.
So I think a lot of normies maybe didn't realize that, I would say, for starters. And then I also think that, like, of course they're all going to show up. It's on TV.
It's on TV. And I think even if they personally didn't want to show up, I think they would do it to support their project.
And that was like, Jared Carmichael kind of said that at the end. He kind of got there finally, where he was like, whatever you think of the Golden Globes, it's great to be able to celebrate all this great work, basically.
Yeah. Like, I think like some of them, maybe their publicists like, please just go, like, just make an appearance. Yeah.
I will say, I was trying to clock. I kind of lost track because there's 27 winners, I believe, and long show, Joyce. So this is not an accurate representation, but I was trying to clock how many people actually thanked the Hollywood Foreign Press. And the only person I could think who did not thank them was Quinta Brunson when she won for Best Actress in a comedy or musical.
I was not paying attention to that. So
I was just, and I didn't, she might've even thanked them when they won for a series at the end. I'm not even sure, but I was like, a lot of people obviously didn't have any problem thanking the Hollywood Foreign Press. If people were like wondering if they would online, nobody seemed to, again.
But I also don't care. I think, the HFPA would care if they thank them or not.
No,
Like,
I don't
and a
think
lot
so.
of the, like 100 of them aren't even HFPA members. They just have voting privileges.
Right. And also, like, the HFPA has been the butt of a joke of these shows forever.
Yeah.
Since I've been watching them. So let's go through the winners. We've mentioned a lot of them, Joyce, but so Fabelmans wins Best Picture for a drama, and the Banshees of Inisherin Best Picture in a musical or comedy. We'll start with the movies, and then we'll go to TV later, because it's great that the TV stuff is great, but I think we're mostly focused on the movies for the Golden Globes. I just don't think I don't think the Golden Globes mean that much in the season, I guess, right, for TV.
Well, it's Oscar season. That's why I always like that the Emmys are on a different calendar.
Right.
Because it would be so boring if the Emmys were in like February or something, and then it's just gonna be a lot of rubber stamping. Like, there's a different calendar for the Emmys. We have different winners.
Yeah.
So different face-offs. So yeah, this is like the Emmys are removed from the Winter Awards, which I love.
Right.
Like, this is part of the Globes are seen as part of Oscar season.
Right. And so while I don't think the Globes, and you would definitely know this better than me because you actually look this stuff up, but I don't think the Globes has the great track record, at least in recent years, of getting the Oscar Best Picture winner 100% right, usually, right? Like, they're gonna for one of these. So like,
well, last year they didn't, because Power of the Dog and West Side Story were the Globe winners, but the year before, yes. So since 2000, only 11 winners in either drama or comedy musical have gone on to win Best Picture at the Oscars. So it's been messy the past decade.
Right.
Like since 12 Years a Slave. So then the following year, like Birdman won the Oscar, and the Globes were Grand Budapest and Boyhood.
Yep.
And then 2015, that was Spotlight won the Oscar, and Globes were Revenant and The Martian in comedy musical.
One of the greatest comedies, Joyce, The Martian.
And then remember when La La Land went 7 for 7?
Yes.
At the Globes, and Moonlight won just drama at the Globes, and then won Best Picture at the Oscars. And then the next year was The Shape of Water, but Three Billboards won the drama Globe, and Lady Bird won comedy, and obviously Green Book, Bo Rap.
Green Book won.
Yeah, Green Book won the Globe too. And then Parasite, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
And A Nomadland and Borat. So
So this could be like, this reminded me a little of, if I was trying to, like, not that any of these connect, I was like, it does feel a little like 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, perhaps. But I actually think that The Fabelmans still has a legitimate chance to win Best Picture at the Oscars. And so does Banshees. I don't think either one of these are out.
I think Banshees like sort of needed, I don't know. I mean, I would say Everything Ever needed this one too, but I think Banshees maybe needed it more because Everything Everywhere was seen as being ahead of it.
Definitely.
You know? But we knew, like, you know, they love Banshees because it got 8 nominations. And it won the most tonight.
We knew they loved Martin McDonagh as well. So I'm not surprised that it won, but I do think that if Everything Everywhere won against Banshees, I think everybody would be like, Everything Everywhere is steamrolling, right? Like, kind of people have like kind of started thinking that, and now maybe they're not going to think that. Now we're recording this before the SAG nominations, and then
I think Everything Everywhere will do well at SAG. It'll probably win Ensemble, so it
probably will win Ensemble. But I'm like, Banshees could easily win like BAFTA. I guess.
Oh yeah,
you know, and like.
No, Banshees has been doing really well. Like if you look at the Critics Awards, like all like the many Critics Awards, it's most of it. The Best Picture prizes have mostly gone to Everything Everywhere, but Banshees is the runner up, and like it's won more than Fabelmans. So
an interesting thing about this year, I think, with the preferential ballot too, for the Oscars at least, is that like all of these feel like consensus movies to me. So like Banshees, Fabelmans, Top Gun, and Elvis to me are like all consensus movies. I still think Everything Everywhere is more polarizing than all 4 of those, but I do think there's a lot of passion on Everything and Everywhere, so that will probably help it too. But I'm like, you really could like make a case for any of those 5.
I think the top 5 is very fluid, like those and Fabelmans. And yeah, I would say, you know, it seemed like Fabelmans was slipping because it missed a lot of BAFTA long lists last week.
That was bad.
Spielberg missed the director long list, which I know people were shocked by, but I was like almost expecting it, really.
You actually are the only person to make a case of why it was not totally unexpected, and no one has really talked about it either. It seems like everybody's just gone with, this is really bad.
Like, I didn't think he would be top 2.
Right.
And then they have, like, for that category specifically, they have very specific gender parity rules.
Right.
And they also changed them this year along with the acting categories. And they're polling, like, the juries are polling from a smaller group. They're basically just trying to course correct because they went too far with the juries, like full juries the past couple years since the double Margot Robbie noms. And now they just want to be Oscar chasers again, which no, just be your own thing. Like, make your own picks, stop chasing and stop trying to predict the Oscars.
Right.
Yeah, so there's like gender parity rules in that category. So he didn't make it. So
right. And you so I feel like you were a voice of reason there while everybody was running around. I was like, I definitely was like, it's not good, but I was
mean,
not
it's
like,
still not good, and it's like, it's a stat against him.
But
right?
at the same time, I do think, like, again, this is, and maybe it doesn't matter, but watching tonight, I was like, man, everyone loves Steven Spielberg, and like, it's so easy to imagine him just winning an Oscar. Like, none of these other movies have stepped up really to take him down. You know what I mean? Like, the Daniels could have used tonight to be like, hey, pay attention to us, you know, and like, if they had an opportunity to get a speech, maybe it would have been a great moment. They were very good at the New York Film Critics Circle dinner. They introduced Keo Kwan, and they were both really good, I thought. And they were very charming and fun and had like great stuff to say. So I was like, I think they could have used it. I still think like Todd Field could be a dark horse, or like, who knows how that category even shakes out. I don't think Martin McDonagh would necessarily win there. I still think he has a better shot of winning screenplay.
No one is really thinking about him in director.
He might not even get nominated. So I'm like, still, Steven Spielberg still feels like, even without the BAFTA long list mentioned, like a legitimate choice. So those are the
because like even last year, like he did make the long list for West Side Story last year, but I didn't predict him for the nomination as one of the 6. I was like, they're not going to pick him. He's not getting in there.
Right. He felt like a filler nom, basically. We mentioned those are the 2 winners, and Spielberg obviously for director, Cate Blanchett for Tar, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere, an actress, Austin Butler and Colin Farrell. Supporting was Keo Kwan and Angela Bassett. So Angela Bassett, Joyce, we could see her winning here and at SAG, and then not winning the Oscar, maybe.
I had her winning SAG before I put her into my Oscar predictions.
Right.
Like, I put her in after she got like this and Critics' Choice nominations last month. I put her in first in SAG. And I eventually put her in my Oscar nominations. But
I have her in 2 for the Oscars, honestly.
Yeah, but now this is, so she can win this Critics' Choice and SAG. BAFTA will be hard for her. I think Carrie will probably win BAFTA. BAFTA is also before SAG this year.
Right.
So
I guess in the end, it does matter. Like, the performance does matter, and all these different things matter. So it's not like one thing. But I do think when push comes to shove, if Angela Bassett is like on the ballot, people are going to vote for her. I think people just like Angela Bassett.
Think like the hardest thing for her is to just get the nomination.
Right. If she gets a nomination, I really think she could just easily win at the Oscars.
But it's like, is this a number 1 getter?
I think it is only because it's Angela Bassett. I don't think it's necessarily has to do with the performance, though the performance is good. And the movie, though the movie is fine. And the character, though the character is fine. All of those things are great. But I do think that because it's Angela Bassett, she would win. I think people will just be like, number 1.
No, I mean, for the nomination. I'm not talking about the win. I'm talking about the nomination.
Right.
Like, it's like she needs, because I could just see her being a filler 4 or 5.
That would be maybe an issue. And then she gets.
And she kind of like addressed that, like when she was like thanking Marvel fans and you know how they made history now with like her winning for a Marvel performance.
Yeah, I thought her speech was really good, and like kind of like
good,
hit the right.
She read it from a phone, which it's fine, but it's
everybody reads from a phone now. I noticed that too. I was like, it's weird because like Quinta Brunson was reading and like getting texts, from like her
congratulations,
family and friends. I'm like, yeah,
she should put on the Not Disturb.
She should have done that. Quinta Brunson, if you're actually watching this, do Not Disturb at the Emmys next year. Maybe try that because I think it's just easier. So those are those winners. Guillermo del Toro.
But yeah, none of these were the acting winners. None of them surprising. I think we talked about that when we were doing predictions, like how like it was going to be pretty much chalk, and supporting actress was the only one really up in the air.
And that ended up true.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won Best Animated Feature. Very obvious. Seems like that's gonna steamroll. I appreciate that he was saying he said you could watch it with kids, but it's not for kids.
Well, which is funny because you watched this last week and you were texting me about it, and you were like, you said something about how could kids watch this, and I literally said to you, it's not for kids.
It's not for kids. I guess we last one of these I got yelled at for doing spoilers. I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but I will say in the first 10
You're
minutes.
not gonna spoil Pinocchio.
So in the first, I'm gonna talk about Pinocchio and happens in the first 10 minutes. So if you're like, oh man, I can't know what happens in Pinocchio because I don't know the story. Geppetto's son just gets blown up in a bomb, and it's like really really sad and just like very visceral. I was just like, wow, this is not a kid's movie.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry at Pinocchio, no.
Okay.
I did not. I did cry tonight though with a couple of speeches. Who was I tearing up? I teared up with like Ryan Murphy's speech. I thought was like really because
which person was it that did it?
Michaela Rodriguez. I just thought that was like really touching.
Right at the start.
Yeah, because she seemed like so emotional. Like it was just like really nice. I'm sure he talked about it. Like I was trying to figure out.
For sure, because he was like, "She's my date tonight."
Right. So I'm sure he like knew that she was gonna. She knew that he was going to do that. But like I was like, man, that was like so touching. I thought that was great, and I like was tearing up at Mike White crying about Jennifer Coolidge.
Like he was also drunk.
He was super drunk and like definitely crying, and I was like, tear in my eye for him.
You know, he's worried about animals.
He loves animals. So here was the biggest shock of the night, Joyce. I would say best foreign language film, or maybe they call it non-English language film. I don't even know what the Globes have settled on for their International Feature Award. But I had a lot of people had predicted RRR. And a
lot of people were predicting RRR or All Quiet on the Western Front.
I had All Quiet.
Neither of those.
Neither one of them win. Argentina 1985 won, and I was just blown away. I could not believe that it won, actually.
Yeah, this was the upset of the evening, but you know, it's also like been doing, I wouldn't say like very well, but it's been doing well.
Well, it's definitely a top contender for a nomination in that category, the Oscars. But I was just shocked, and obviously, like we've seen, like based on like the BAFTA long list and the Oscar short list, that a lot of people are really loving All Quiet on the Western Front. It's like definitely ascendant. But the Globes did not really go crazy for it because they didn't put it in like score. It could have, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of places it could have gotten nominated besides this, but like it could have gotten a score nomination or a drama nomination, maybe, you know, something like that. So that it just had the one nomination. Maybe that was a sign that it wasn't as strong. But I was like, man, I did not expect Argentina 1985 to win. That really shocked me.
It won Venice, something there, and it's been getting nominations.
Yeah,
I think it's up at Critics' Choice.
I mean, what do you think will win at Critics' Choice? I guess we'll talk about this tomorrow.
I mean, probably RRR.
I thought RRR too, but I'm like, maybe
because of that
Oscar chase into All Quiet because it can't get nominated.
And
then
RRR, I think the ascendancy of All Quiet will make it difficult for them. They could just tie them. I
mean, maybe they will.
Yeah.
Who knows? How many ties? We'll talk about this tomorrow. I'm not even going to ask you this. I'm going to save this one for tomorrow because I want to do it on that one. So Argentina 1985 won, and then RRR did win for original song, Not To, which I foolishly went to Lady Gaga. And then when I saw Lady Gaga didn't attend, I was like, that was wrong. I should have not taken Lady Gaga.
Okay, but when they're voting, they don't know who's attending. I don't know why people do this.
What if they do? I'm just saying, like, what if
how would the 200 voters know who's attending in late December?
But I will say, I could not believe Rihanna was there. I truly was shocked that Rihanna showed up.
You know, she's doing a promo for the halftime show.
Maybe that's it.
Probably dropping R9 this year at some point. It's been a while.
That was another great Jared Carmichael joke.
So
I thought, did you like that joke? The Rihanna joke he made?
Yeah,
good joke. That he was like really funny. I thought a lot of his jokes were funny. So yeah,
but I think it also felt like, you know, the pop girlies just split the vote too.
Right. I actually, when we were watching the nominees, I was like, what if Chow Papa wins this? I was like, over Not To.
Did you enjoy Chow Papa? It's kind of divisive amongst people I know who've seen the movie.
I did like it. I thought it was good.
I think it's cute. So.
I love Not To. And again, but the thing is about Not To again is that it does feel so tied to the movie I'm like, I don't think it's a song like these other songs are songs that, like Hold My Hand, I just listened to. I love it. But I was listening to Not To before, and I'm like, I really want to watch it. I don't just want to listen to it. I want to see the whole thing. And I'm hoping that Oscar voters are going to see the whole thing.
Yeah, because it's part of the movie, and some of these are just end credits songs. Ciao Papa is also part of the movie.
And
Hold My Hand is sort of part of the movie because it's the melody is part of the new score.
The melody's part of the new score, and it actually plays very, very, very quietly in the background when he goes to the bar to look for Jennifer Connelly after the first night.
Yeah. And it's playing, like the melody's playing when they land back on the carrier. So
But Not To winning was great. People were, I think there was a big LA screening of RRR last night, or this is Monday night.
Yeah, that was the one that sold out in like 98 seconds or something, right?
And there were videos circulating that it looked like it was like the end of Avengers Endgame, basically. Just people going absolutely apeshit over it, which I'm just like, yes, hell yeah.
But will Oscar voters react the same way?
I have no idea. I'm hoping they will, because I really hope that song gets nominated, because I really do want to see it win.
I think it can get nominated, but I can see it being another Husavik.
I'm still worried about it being Husavik. The only difference I'd say when we talked about it is that this movie is way stronger than Husavik.
Yes, no one was watching Eurovision.
And people are taking it more seriously. Eurovision. I called it Husavik. I didn't remember the goddamn name. I just said Husavik. Maybe it should have been called Husavik and they would have watched it. And then Justin Hurwitz won for Babylon Joyce. He's got 4 Golden Globes.
He's never lost a Golden Globe.
I put him in. I switched in. When we did this picks, I did not have him. And then I think somebody in the comments was like, Chris, you're an idiot. You should put him in. And I was like, you're probably right. And then I switched it. So I put him in.
He was one of the things I didn't change today because I thought about changing to him. And then I was like, I'm not going to make that many changes.
Right.
So really, I didn't do it.
Really should have gone to like the change.
I should have switched to him, and I should have kept Banshees. This is what I should have done.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, that was great. I couldn't. John Williams was there, Joyce. 90-year-old John Williams sitting in the crowd.
They're turning up the campaign, okay? And like Steven gave him a shout out.
Johnny Williams. He says, Johnny Williams.
That's like what he calls him. Did you not watch the featurette about their relationship?
No, I didn't. Yeah, Joyce, I did not. Johnny Williams. The best part of the Fabelmans speech too is so Spielberg had a couple of nice speeches. Obviously, best director. I thought his speech was like really great. And again, probably endeared him to many people in Hollywood who just love him. But the best picture win was great. And then he got Tony Kushner to say like, thank you.
Oh, when he just forced him. Listen, writers don't want to talk, okay? No one wants to be at the mic.
The thing that's funny is one of the many Fabelman screenings I've gone to see, the one I went to was with Judd Apatow and Tony Kushner and Spielberg. They all talked. And Tony Kushner, that thing was like, I'm not really going to talk. And then would go on 25-minute rambling, anecdotes about what happened. It was just great.
I think I've seen interviews with him. I mean, you've talked to him.
I talked to him. I went 28 minutes, Joyce.
Yeah, like I think he is willing to have conversations. I think he likes having conversations and doing interviews, but he doesn't like public speaking from a crowd, which I don't either.
No, I think that's fair. And he was a wonderful interview. When I talked to West Side Story, a career highlight, Joyce. I just love talking to him. So that was the movies.
So what do you think any of this means for the Oscars, or are you waiting for SAG before you make any drastic changes?
I'm waiting for SAG before I make any drastic changes. I will say, like, I feel more empowered by having. I think Steven Spielberg winning here was like very necessary.
Yeah, because we were saying like
he might not win.
Yeah, I kept him.
I kept him too. I did not jump off that ship, but I'm just saying, like, it felt like
Boz.
It felt like not great.
I know a lot of people were predicting Elvis to go 3 for 3.
It felt like we were taking on water for Steve, and so that he won here was great. I think that like kind of cauterized a little bit of like the perception that it was lagging, even if it's not, because we have no idea really what anybody is thinking about these movies. We just have certain data points, right? Like where it's like missing, obviously, at some of the BAFTA long lists and blah blah blah. So I was like, that was great. None of the acting stuff really changed my mind. I still think Austin Butler will win, though I will say, like, Colin Farrell is so charming. I really could see him winning.
Yeah, like, I think it's between the two of them. Like, I've thought that for months. And their movies are just clearly stronger. Like, I just always had doubts about The Whale. Like, even in, like, early fall after it premiered in Venice before I even saw it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that category is so tied to Best Picture.
Exactly. So I actually might end up. I could see. So I still have Austin there. I mean, we'll see what happens at SAG and all these things. I could see moving to Colin because I do think in the end that is a stronger Best Picture contender, maybe overall than Elvis. It's very close because I think Elvis is also really strong as a winner. I'm saying not even.
Yeah,
just
but I think people just also, even if Banshees wins Best Picture, like no one is seriously talking about Elvis winning Best Picture,
No.
but I think you would just honor Elvis through Austin.
The other thing,
sort
I
of like
think
how you would honor Tar through Kate.
right. The other thing I was thinking was like, it's so obvious that he like when you play when like it's like kind of like forget like comparing the actual craft of the performances or whatever, and I'm like, there are a few icons in history more recognizable than Elvis. So like clearly he should win for playing. You know what I mean? It's like Daniel Day-Lewis playing Lincoln. Even if he was like half as good, he probably still would have won for playing Lincoln. Right? It's like Abe Lincoln. Of course he won an Oscar. You know what I mean? Like it just is
And
like
that was his third Oscar.
I know. I'm just saying, like when you're playing a real life figure who's so recognizable and so well known, and that has people have such an affinity for, and you actually do a good job.
They just also like have an affinity for real life,
right?
Like
Freddie
playing
Mercury,
real
like
life
we've
people,
seen it
yeah,
over and over again. So I'm just like, I do think that's why he'll win. And then Kate versus Michelle Yeoh, I think is going to be really great. I'm excited for that because I do think Kate will end up winning, but man, it's very close. I think
she just completed her second trifecta win over the weekend because she won National Society. So she did the same sweep, National Society, New York, LA for Blue Jasmine,
right?
And she dominated that season and won the Oscar. So
I mean, when I watch the clips from it, I'm just like, oh man, she should win. Nothing else really changed none of these things changed my mind. I do think that like
Ki Kwan is done. Like why, like there's nothing to say. I don't know. Like we the next 2 weeks, this is our fun, or less than 2 weeks. Like the fun is figuring out the other nominees. That's right.
We could have a great time debating who will be the runner-up because I don't know if it's Brendan Gleeson at this point. I think it might be somebody else. I guess we'll see. But yeah, we'll wait to see what SAG does for that. And then for TV, Joyce, not that we care as much, like we said, but it's still fun. So TV series,
care about it. It's just not vital during this time of the year. I did love that they saved a bunch of TV categories for the end and fewer film categories. I really love that.
I love that too. You know why? Because more people probably saw these shows than watched the movies. There's definitely more people watch House of the Dragon than Fabelmans, obviously.
Hilarious win.
So I should have went with House of the Dragon. We talked about this. I kept Severance, but I said to you, I was like, man, House of the Dragon I really think could win because it's so popular. And I put it in second place and I didn't switch. And that was when I should have switched. So that wins Best Drama Series. And then
an award that Game of Thrones never won.
Yes. And then it was also great because Miguel Sapochnik went up to accept it, but he doesn't work on the show anymore. Seemingly.
And if you believe all the goss,
there's a lot of I was actually
very funny.
There was a lot. If you read the newsletter, Puck, Matt Belloni had a whole bunch of goss about this and about
why he left before
Miguel's
season 2,
exit before season 2, and House of the Dragon. So yeah, that was a great moment. I was just
that
like,
was
wow.
very funny, and obviously, not surprising for me, but still painful that Better Call Saul and Bob Odenkirk lost.
Totally blanked. I will say that.
I mean, I saw Bob this morning because I'm at TCA, and today was AMC, so he was here this morning promoting his new show, Lucky Hank.
Sure.
So maybe he'll have more success next year.
Maybe he'll get lucky with Lucky Hank.
Yeah.
I will say Miguel Sapochnik immediately giving a shout out to Severance. I said was probably a boom for their maybe Emmy hopes, or maybe he wants to go over to. Maybe he could also.
I guess I am happy because I didn't predict Severance to win anything, and I know so many people were predicting Severance to win series and like either Adam Scott or John Turturro, and I had it going 0 for 3. So I was like, at least I got that right.
I had Severance and Turturro winning. And then in hindsight, it was so obvious that wasn't going to happen. But anyway, House of Dragon wins Best Drama Series. Zendaya wins for Euphoria. Not there. She did not attend. So no speech for her. But that was a nice win. Here's one that I'm kicking myself because I love this guy. Kevin Costner won Best Actor, Joyce. I did not predict it. And
I don't know how many people predicted it because I think a lot of people were going with Bob or Adam.
Or Jeff
you had
Bridges.
Diego in second.
Or Jeff Bridges, right? People thought he would win. I think I had Kevin Costner in 5th, honestly, in mine.
It was just it was very weird for the Globes because both lead drama winners, they were their shows only nominations. Their shows did not get a series nomination. So they Globes usually likes to pair something. So there wasn't even an option for the pairing with those two winners.
No, that's why it threw me off, and that's why I don't feel that bad that I literally had Kevin Costner 5 out of 5. But I will say I started thinking maybe he would win when they brought out Cole Hauser and the other another Yellowstone cast member to present, and I was like, people love Yellowstone. That was my big takeaway. It's like, man,
but that's just the talent booking presenters.
I'm just saying. I was like, I should have thought.
These conspiracy theories hold no water.
Abbott Elementary did amazing. I think it won 3 awards, Joyce, right? Is that right?
It won 3. It's the first comedy to win 3 in one night since Glee in 2011.
Wow. And of course, of the 2 acting wins, it did not win the one that I predicted, and I think a lot of people did. Sheryl Lee Ralph. She did not win.
No, she didn't win. But instead, Quinta won and TJ Dubs won. Very deserved.
That was great. Tyler James was winning. I was looking at that and I was like, we had talked about that category as being like not the strongest, I would say, right? It was like we were debating.
Well, it's also a new category because they split supporting actor in TV, or the supporting categories in TV. But then I was like, when he won, I was like, that actually kind of makes sense because he's up against just 4 old white guys.
So he's
great on the show.
Well, he's up against 4 old white guys. He's great on the show. And the other thing is like all these other people are like, I don't know.
And he's in the strongest show too. So.
That's it. I was like, it's the strongest show. It was the strongest show. And like, he so obviously would have won, I think, in hindsight. But he was 4th in our odds. I think I had him in 4th. I had Turturro winning.
And I had John Lithgow.
And then Quinta Brunson won Best Actress. I think I had her 2nd after Jenna Ortega, who I really thought was going to win. I think a lot of
that is like Jenna is like your classic Globes winner, yes. But Quinta also makes sense too. And you know, they didn't have a chance to nominate her. I don't think she would have won last year anyway. There's no way she was beating Jean Smart last year, but they didn't have a chance to nominate her last year because Abbott just premiered with 1 episode in 2021 in December, before the other episodes aired in early 2022. So this is their first chance to award the show.
Right. And they loved it. And so that was really great. I mean, so I thought the other ones were pretty obvious. So like Abbott won's comedy, and Jeremy Allen White won Best Actor in a comedy, which seems like very obvious.
He loves acting.
His speech was great. I thought he was really good. Look forward to seeing him like win probably at SAG and other, shows this winter. White Lotus won. Mike White's speech we talked about, just an incredible drunk.
It's a great rebound for White Lotus because it only got 1 nomination last year for Jennifer, and she didn't win. So, and now it went to awards.
Won 2 awards. Jennifer won as well. Evan Peters won limited series actor for Dahmer.
He really blitzed through his speech. I was like, he wants to get off that stage.
Yeah, I think he took the time seriously. A lot of people took that as like
I think he also doesn't like public speaking either, because he was also nervous with his Emmy speech. Remember when he said shit and fuck a bunch of times before he got up to the stage?
Yeah. So there was a lot of that this year watching, and I was like, you know what? When they end up not having these on network TV, then they don't have to beep this stuff out, and it'll be so much better.
Yeah.
We're all grown-ups here, or almost grown-ups. Like people could, it's just language. You can hear shit.
Yeah, it's just words.
Just
explicit content, sure.
Amanda Seyfried won for The Dropout.
Did you keep Jess?
I did. I went down with the ship, and I felt really good about it because I knew Amanda Seyfried wasn't there. But you know who was? Jessica Chastain sitting there.
But what does it matter?
It didn't at all.
See, again, like who's voting based on who's attending, which they don't know about when they're voting.
We mentioned Tyler James Williams. Julia Garner won for Ozark, Joyce.
A hilarious win. Ozark's first and last win. But this, like, I mean, I figured they were going to award Zendaya to play catch up. Was not as sure about Ozark because they've overlooked it so many times already, but maybe 3 Emmys is too many for them to overlook.
I guess. I mean, good for her to win.
Yeah.
And then Paul Walter Hauser won for Best Supporting Actor in a Limited Series or Movie. I think we both had.
Yes, good stuff. Love the hug between him and Sebastian Stan. Love my I, Tonya reunion. I need a photo of them and Margot Robbie, please.
That could probably happen. I'm sure they still hang
Yeah.
out.
So yeah, that was a good one. And yeah,
His speech was all over
nothing.
the place too.
Yeah, like that. I don't know. It's hard to, because like those are the new categories, I guess you can say. So it's hard to say what history there is there to go off of unless you just look at the old merged category.
I mean, I think like I expect him again. We're going to be doing this in less than 12 hours, so it could be completely wrong, but I do expect him to get in it and maybe at SAG, right? And like kind of like it could do well there as well.
I don't remember if I have him or not.
Let me look. I don't know if I have him not either, but I'm like I could easily see him getting in because I do think he's like
I mean, there's only one category at SAG,
but he is like a respected actor, and I do think that he got out there like for it.
You know what might help him? Being on Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Netflix.
Because it's on Netflix. Stingray.
And then Jennifer Coolidge won for White Lotus. She gave a great speech as well. I don't think they played the two people. I don't think they played off were Jennifer Coolidge and Steven Spielberg, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and were they playing
speech,
off Jennifer? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so. And her speech was better than her Emmy speech, where she was also played off.
She was. She referenced getting literally hooked off the stage. I don't think that actually happened, but that was a great moment. So that's interesting. Anything else on the TV side that we should?
I guess I would just say, Globe's fave, The Crown, did not win anything.
I thought it was like by the end, they love showing photo shots of the crown table with everybody looking like this. No one was happy.
I mean, we kind of expected it. I didn't predict it to win anything.
Me neither. But I was
and the reception to this season, not the best. So not that surprising. Ultimately, even though they've given it so many awards in the past, it's one drama actress for 3 different people.
And it could still win maybe next year for Amelia.
Yeah, their final season.
Final season. I think they'll come back. I bet you they will come back to it, unless it's up against Succession, in which case the monarchy falls, Joyce.
Or, they don't rebound, so.
Or that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So tomorrow, so we're recording this on a late. It's still Tuesday for you. It's now Wednesday for me here.
Oh my God! So you're on the day of the SAG nominations.
It's the day of the SAG nominations here. So we'll do another one of these, and then we've got PGA and DGA later this week. So a lot of dominoes are kind of falling here for us to figure out what the 10 movies are and everything else.
Yeah, I haven't made any changes to the Oscars in like 4 days or something. I don't know.
I definitely changed some over the weekend because I was just like, I gotta regroup. I gotta regroup here. Not great.
I think I did something after BAFTA, but
I definitely put All Quiet. I put All
Quiet in.
And I actually keep flipping on Babylon, and I kept it in. I just think that
I don't remember I have it in or not. I might still have it in.
I just think that like I don't think it's like a negative on the act. I don't think like the actors are against it, and I think the below the line support is going to be still really strong because a lot of
it's missed some guilds so far this week, so
yeah,
it's not a good sign.
No, but it got a lot of mentions. I thought it got like a good amount of mentions at BAFTA. Not a lot, but it got more than Fabelmans.
No, I mean I don't remember how many.
I think it got 7 or maybe like 8 to 6, but it missed like picture film and like film director and
but the thing is, it's like it's relying on text to get into Best Picture, and the guilds have not gone for it yet.
So how did like Nightmare Alley do last year in the same kind of thing?
Nightmare Alley, it did pretty well, and obviously it got Kate at SAG.
Right, but I actually think it's going to do pretty well at SAG. I think like Margot and Brad could get in at SAG.
I no longer have anybody from Babylon at SAG because I changed.
What guilds did Babylon miss? Did it miss its sound? I think it did. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is an egregious one because the sound rules.
Exactly, like that's one of the ones where you think it would be a shoe-in,
right,
to get. So
I still think it could get in.
So I mean, listen, this is a year where they should just go back to 5 Best Picture nominees.
Would love it.
Yeah, we don't need to expand things all the time. So sometimes there's not 10, sometimes there's not even 8.
What if it's the Critics' Choice and there's 10 director nominees?
Don't remind me.
We'll talk about that tomorrow and many other things, Joyce, or not even tomorrow. Next time you're watching one of these, I guess.
Well, it's tomorrow for me.
Time is
It's
irrelevant,
for
like
you.
Natasha Lyonne said. It doesn't matter. So whenever next time,
as Lydia Tarr says, time is the thing.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna end it there. Bye, Joyce. See you later.